Good evening, everybody. We'll call the meeting of regular City Council of October 26th to order. And we'll begin with a poem from our Poet Laureate, Jenna-Lynn Albert.
Thank you, Your Worship. This evening I'm reading a poem by R.M. Vaughan, Richard Vaughan, a Canadian writer, video artist, novelist, and playwright who we lost this week. The poem is called Memories Don't Live Like People Do. There's too much art about memory. Hold only mass and available light, dear. Dear is cactus prickles and all the little things that eat between sharp points, between dangers, under stones and baseboards, beetles, rabbits, voles, songbirds, cancer. Stay tangible in low definition, molecular. Memory is a trawling net, pulling up rocks, stray limbs, the hollow chassis of green snow crabs, clammy leather peels, nibbled off the shoes of the murdered, tied scum, twist ties, nothing you can't do without. I live in an old house. Is it haunted? It is. Now the trick is to stay on top of the mold. The trick is vigilance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenna-Lynn, and condolences. I know he was a friend and associate of yours, so condolences to you and your friends, and to obviously, when I've seen on social media and in the media, his many friends and across Canada. So condolences to the Vaughan family and to everybody that held him dear.
Thank you.
City Clerk, approval of agenda.
Thank you, Worship. There's no additional items to add to the agenda this evening.
Good. Then be moved by Councillor McDermott, seconded by Councillor Keenan, that we approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Does anybody have a conflict of interest to declare on any of the items in front of us tonight? Hearing silence, there is none. Consent agenda, we have we have 8 items on that, including some PAC reports. And anybody have any comments on any of the items? Councillor McGarity? 5.8. Well, speak on it now before we move it. Well, actually, I'll put it on the floor and you speak on it. So it'd be moved by the Deputy Mayor and seconded by Councillor Peters that we approve the consent agenda. And Councillor McGarity, 5.8.
I guess something I haven't seen a lot is a street name approval, because mostly it was just left up to the contractors working with the city staff for street names. So it begs the question is first of all, we don't have a policy wrapped around street names, so anybody could name any street whatever they want. So it might be a discussion down the road, maybe in development, that we look at that topic and put a policy around street names. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there is some guidelines that staff work with. I'll ask Councillor McDermott as the PAC level.
No, there actually are no guidelines. The
none?
only condition is that it goes through 911 to ensure that it doesn't have confusion within a region.
Okay.
But when it comes to a street naming policy, there is not one. But I will say every single new street that is added does actually come through council. It goes through planning advisory committee and then does come through us. But you're right, it's the developer who gets to choose the name, and we don't have a policy for it. And this has actually come up in conversation before. I don't know if just at the PAC level, but also at the council level. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, I'll leave it with if a councillor has an issue with some interest or concern, speak to staff about it, and we'll see what comes out of it.
Thank you, I will.
Okay. All those in favor of the consent agenda? Those against? Motion is carried. Approval of the minutes of the regular City Council meeting of August 10th and 24th. That'd be moved by Councillor Keenan, seconded by Councillor Mallet. Anybody on the question? All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. First and second reading of bylaws. 7.1, bylaw L16-2, Downtown Fredericton, Inc. Councillor Chase.
Thank you, Your Worship. Be it resolved, the bylaw number L16.2, Business Improvement Levy Bylaw, be given first reading by title.
Be seconded by Councillor Rogers. On the question? All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be it resolved, the bylaw number L-16.2, Business Improvement Levy Bylaw, be given second reading by title.
Second by Councillor Rogers. On the question? All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. Bylaw 7.2, Bylaw L17.2, Business Fredericton North, Inc. Councillor Price.
Your Worship, I'm having technical difficulties with my iPad. I'm going to pass this along, please.
Okay. Who's the alternate? Councillor Keenan, you take that one, please.
Get my audio set. Thank you very much. Okay, whereas bylaw number L15, Business Improvement Area Bylaw designates a portion of the city of Fredericton as a business improvement area pursuant to the provisions of the Business Improvement Act. And whereas the Board of Directors of Business Fredericton North has submitted a proposed budget to the Council of the City of Fredericton pursuant to Section 4 of the Business Improvement Areas Act, as set out in Schedule A attached hereto and forming a part hereof, which estimates a levy of 20 cents per $100 of assessment on non-residential property within the area designated by bylaw number L15. And whereas the provisions of the Business Improvement Areas Act requires the fulfillment of various conditions in the enactment of bylaws under the Act, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Fredericton hereby states its intention to consider the budget as set out in Schedule A and directs the public notice requirements of Section 4, subsection 2 of the Business Improvement Areas Act be fulfilled. Also move.
Yeah, I think Councillor Keenan, you were doing so well. I didn't want to interrupt you.
So you let me go through the whole thing.
So what you were reading was on the.
Okay, now I'm gonna read first and second reading.
What exactly?
You could have felt yeah, welcome to stop me at any point. But
Well, you were like, it was like an opera singer. You had to warm up your vocal cords.
okay, now I'm good. Be it resolved that bylaw number L-17.2 Business Improvement Levy Bylaw be given first reading by title.
That'd be seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried.
Be it resolved that bylaw number L-17.2 Business Improvement Levy Bylaw be given second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Grandy. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. Thank you. 7.3 bylaw Z5204 67 Hay Street, a rezoning. I was going to go to Councillor Price, but if he has technical difficulties, we'll go to Councillor McGarity. You take that one?
Yes, thank you, Worship. Be it resolved that the report of the Planning Advisory Committee dated October 22nd, 2020, the respect application from Ricky Price of Price Auto Sales to rezone property at 87 Hay Street from mixed use zone to 2 MX2 to commercial corridor zone 1, corridor core 1 for future considerations with or Union Street be received.
Be seconded by Councillor Erickson. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. City Clerk, hearing of objections and support.
Thank you, Worship. The Office of City Clerk has not received any letters of objection or support.
I think we do have the proponent online that would like to speak to this. Mr. Price.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, just want to thank you all for taking the time to to hear this. We started this business back in 2007. And of course, we started with minimal cars. And the first couple of years, we only sold 150, 200 cars. And my business partner and I decided that we didn't like the car business. So I took it over solely. And here we are almost on our 14th year. Last year, we had 452 out. This year, we're on track to sell over 500. I have 7 full-time staff. I have 4 senior citizens that are retired, that they're drivers. They pick up, they go to St. John, Moncton, and Halifax. And of course, before the COVID hit, they would go into Quebec and pick up our cars. But So we support the local community, very involved with the community kitchen. My wife and I, because of Price Auto Sales and the success that we've had, very, very big supporters and the less fortunate in the city. In fact, just today, we had somebody come over to the office today that is homeless. So we're very involved with them. That's where our passion is. And because of the success and of Price Auto Sales, we're able to do that. We cleaned up this block where what it was 14 years ago. We keep the lawns clean. We keep the cars to the best that we can. We have security lights. We have 8 cameras. When we first came here, there was a problem in the back with we found some needles and gauze and drugs. And after we put the cameras and the lights up, it went away. So anyway, I want to thank you very much for considering us and taking the time for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Any questions for the proponent? No? Councillor McGarity, first reading.
Your worship, be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.204, bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, zoning bylaw of the city of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Erickson on the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? The motion is carried. Second reading.
Be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.204, bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, zoning bylaw of the city of Fredericton, be given second reading by title.
Be seconded by Councillor Erickson on the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. 7.4, bylaw Z-5205, 715 Priestman Street, a zoning amendment. Councillor Rogers, I think that's in your ward.
My ward goes everywhere. It's huge. Be it resolved that the report of the Planning Advisory Committee dated October 22nd, 2020, with respect to an application from Jason Willett on behalf of Radio Fredericton, Inc. to amend section 6.34AX of zoning bylaw Z-5 to permit third-party signage on property located at 715 Priestman Street be received.
Thank you. It'd be seconded by Councillor Chase, whose ward is on the other side of the street. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? The motion is carried. City Clerk, hearing of objections and support.
Thank you, Worship. The Office of City Clerk has not received any letters of objection or support. There are a couple letters contained in the package, but they didn't come directly to our office. And I believe the proponent is on the line, would like to speak and give a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, Jason Ouellette is online, and as soon as you can come through, we'll see your presentation. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our goal is to get an amendment permitting third-party advertising on the property of 715 Priestman Street at Centre Communautaire Saint-Anne. Hope all goes well. Here I go. First slide is billboard are COVID-free and environmentally friendly. Newspaper, promo bags are a source of pollution, not COVID safe, and are a thing of the past. And we want to communicate differently. Our electronic billboard consume less than $30 of electricity every month and can last up to 15 years. Less garbage, more trees, and less germ propagation. Second slide, billboard advertising is a local business promoter and economic stimulus. Our project is supported by the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. This billboard will promote local businesses, generate local economy. This could be an opportunity for local customers that might not have their businesses located on busy streets like ours to promote their services. Our local radio station has been losing big money to social media advertising, and the money spent on the internet is usually going outside the country, and no taxes are being paid on some of those investments. And none of the big web corporations have investment here in Fredericton neither. The money spent from our customers to promote their local activities in French and English will be reinvested in services and salary. My sign will create almost one full-time job and keep our radio station alive for the years to come. Sales, graphic, accounting, hosting, and administration of the project. The City of St. John Saint-Jean is letting us install a similar billboard with third-party advertising on Rothsay Avenue with Habitats for Humanity. According to me, this is an opportunity for the city to communicate better and support local businesses. Next slide. In need of bilingual representation in the city, we could be an exception to the bylaw. We will be 100% bilingual. We offer a solution to a better representation of the visual proportion of French versus the percentage of occupation in the city. Being a capital is a privilege, and to my understanding, it should support and reflect the purposes of its representing territory, being the only bilingual province in Canada. I think the councillors should encourage a fair proportion of French on commercial signs. Let us advertise third-party advertisement on our billboard in French and English. Less than 1% of all commercial signs are French in the city, when almost 20% of the greater Fredericton residents are bilingual. Our billboard will be a tool of promotion for the Acadian culture, promote pride, encourage people and businesses to communicate in French, set by example. The actual situation with the grandfathered clause on existing billboards does not encourage French third-party advertising in the city. This is a misrepresentation of French community, I guess. Fourth slide. We have over 30 organizations who operate on our premises. What's the difference between them and the third-party advertising? Our billboard only displays one image at a time, highly organized, non-animated information. To most, it's nothing. It's like looking at a tree, a logo on a truck, or a first-party sign, or just someone walking with a logo on a shirt. Our billboard will respect the character of the building development because we are in an area where commercial institutional character is the key. If third-party advertising is approved on our billboard, our sign will also promote over 30 non-profitable groups who operate in the Saint-Anne Community Center. This is a win-win-win situation. Our radio station cannot afford to install our sign in Fredericton if we're not able to sell ads on it. Beats the purposes of this investment. Fifth and last slide, conclusion. This is a delicate discussion for us and a $100,000 investment for the radio station. We see in this project an opportunity to survive and flourish with our community. I say we encourage freedom of speech, show local businesses, community groups like us that the city, the council is open-minded and ready to support innovation, effective and environmentally friendly ways to promote. I'm convinced that the residents would approve billboards being bilingual and community supported. I think they would be proud to see that the council is encouraging better communication, job creation, local business promotion, and COVID-free economy. We have good intentions and we are well-oriented. That's pretty much it. That's all we got. Thanks.
Thank you. And I think you have a future in radio.
I hope so.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Ouellette?
Excuse me, Your Worship.
Yes, Councillor Prentice.
Can I please take a conflict of interest on this one?
Yes, it's never too late. Maybe you didn't realize that. Okay, we'll wait till you sign off then before the votes. You disconnect. One second. Is that confirmed? Okay. Fair enough. So no questions? Fair enough. So Councillor Rogers, first reading?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Chase. I apologize.
Thanks, Your Worship. Question to Mr. Ouellette. This sign, is it a static sign or would it be a flashing interchangeable message sign?
So this would be an electronic billboard sign, meaning that every 10 seconds, there's a different slide that will be shown.
Okay. Okay. No, thanks for that clarification because it's not immediately clear, in the report. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Erickson.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for your presentation, sir. I'm curious, what hours will the sign operate? And has there been any thought to the light pollution that this might shed to the residences in the area?
So these lights are equipped with a dimmer. So they dim with the sun. They're not going to be brighter. Well, they will be a little brighter at night, but we adjust them according to the reflection on buildings around because we want to control this and keep a very low density of light at night because it's not needed, right? And also it saves us on electricity. So the sign will run 24 hours and 7 days a week. And at nights after 6 o'clock will be reserved to local non-lucrative associations and donated to these people across the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. No other questions? Councillor Rogers, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. So every 10 seconds, the image is changing. Is it possible to alter that time? Is it possible that it be every 15 seconds or is it set at 10? I was just wondering if from a safety perspective, if it were stagnant for a longer period of time, if that would make a difference. I don't have a lot of knowledge. This clearly need to read up on this more before third reading, because I'm not aware if that makes a difference from a safety perspective, if the idea that the image doesn't flash as regularly, if that makes a difference.
Mr. Lett?
The image will be, we're hoping for 10 seconds because it's a national way of doing things. When you look at big companies, they use the 10 seconds for marketing, etc. And right now at the present moment, billboards that are being in rotation across the city are also 10 seconds. So this is why we use the 10 seconds per slide. But we never thought of it that way because we said everybody's doing it the 10 seconds, so it should be okay. But if the council wants to study the matter, they're more than welcome. We can look at the possibilities.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor McGarity?
Look, I think it's a great idea. Have you had a chance to talk to your biggest, the biggest tenant would be the hospital across the street? That have you talked to them about maybe? I think there's some opportunity there for you, really. I mean, if you could broadcast a message saying, look, yeah, we're in your corner, get better. And, when you're in a hospital, people are always looking out the window.
So it would be an opportunity for us. We have established some discussions with the foundation, but not with the direct hospital authorities. What we know is that the project is supported by the province. So we do have some sort of a foot in the doorstep being supported by the province. So hopingly, yes, we hope to be a community place for people to get informed as much as the city, as other infrastructure around the center and the city.
Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Dara?
Councillor McGarity, just for clarity's sake, this is actually going to be on Regent Street, not on Priestman. Not that they can't go after the hospital for business, but just so everyone's clear, the sign's going to go on Regent Street.
No, and I know that. It's just the one thing is the interference with the hospital. But I think there's an opportunity. As I say, where exactly is located, that good clarification, but might be possibilities where, if somebody's in the hospital, they're always looking out the window. So, thank you.
Councillor Keenan?
Thanks, Your Worship. My question is to planning staff. Is Marcello on or Karen?
Yeah,
Marcello. Okay, thanks. So Marcello, if I read the staff report properly, you recommended approval of the sign. Is that correct?
That is correct, and the variances were reviewed by PAC and approved by PAC.
Okay, so even though the sign was larger than the normal institutional zone standard, staff were recommending approval of that. Do I understand that right?
To your worship, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had. Thanks.
Okay. Councillor McDermott?
Thank you, Worship. If I could interject there, and I don't know if this is helpful to you, Dan. There were a number of issues to it. What staff did not recommend was a third-party advertising. So they did not have a problem. They recommended the sign for the sake of being a sign, as we have done in the past for other businesses. What they did not recommend was for the third-party advertising.
Yeah, and just so I understand, then thanks for that, John. What did PAC recommend? Did they approve it with a third party?
They did. It was a split vote.
Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Well, That was robust questioning. Anybody else? No? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ouellette. Appreciate your time. First reading, Councillor Rogers.
Sorry, Your Worship. Be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.205, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given first reading by title.
Be seconded by Councillor Chase. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? Motion is carried. Carry on.
Be it resolved that bylaw number Z-5.205, a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the city of Fredericton, be given second reading by title.
Seconded by Councillor Chase. On the question. All those in favor of the motion? Those against? The motion is carried. Motion to adjourn, that would be Councillor Peters, second by Councillor Price. All those, all right, no, Price is not on, sorry, that'd be second by Councillor